wouldn't be the last day of the Super Week unless we had a little drama, and that is exactly what we got. 5 spots all locked in for playoffs. One of those spots still up for grabs with 3 teams left in the fight. Welcome back. This is Playday 9 of the NAL. I'm Jonas Willinger alongside Foxay and Laxing as we get into the action on the final day before playoffs. And a great day and a great way to end the stage with a bang. Wildcard, Orgless, Cloud9, all still in the fight. Last day, last spot, last chance.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of implications still on the line. You know, yesterday, some of these teams, you know, they had it in their hands. They could have pushed it, maybe ended it, especially for LFO in that last game. But it's still on the line going into today. Like you said, the drama's there.
Yeah, in the Wildcard Envy game, we saw Wildcard and Envy put up a good fight. Wildcard was just completely taking the sight away from Envy. They looked new and improved, but it's not going to stop there. They're obviously going to have the pressure going into today.
Yeah, there wasn't much on the line here between Oxygen and SSG, maybe just jumping up a place here and there. But overall, I mean, they still gave their effort. They still showed off that they were looking to be the best, better than the other opponent, and it gives us a little glimpse of what playoffs can look like from both of those teams.
Yeah, and Cloud9 keeping it alive. I mean, they looked way cleaner today, obviously, after their close game against SR on the exact same map. Go into Cruelty, clean it out the exact way that we wanted to see. It was great improvement from them on a day-to-day basis.
And this was the game that was so hyped up, and I really think it lived up to that hype. I mean, realistically, these were the best of the best going neck and neck. It was a masterclass of a chess match between these two. It just Shopify. They pulled out the checkmate.
And finally, a lot closer of a game than we'd imagine. LFO versus M80. M80 came out on top, but it was huge improvement from LFO from what we saw. And obviously, bringing it to OT made sure that M80 was not going to be able to claim that top 2 spot. So LFO got a little point from there. Good improvement from them all around. And now, these are your standings.
Yeah, no better way to come into the final day of the Super Week than with a little bit of momentum. As things stand, Orgless, we just talked about him, 9 points in that 6th spot for now. Wildcard and Cloud9 hot on their heels. Everyone else at the top, locked in for playoffs. Could see a little movement laxing with M80 and Space Station, but that's really just about it.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. You know, we've already talked to a couple of the IGLs from these rosters, a few players. Biggest goal for a lot of these teams was just making top 6. Now what we're really looking at, especially it being the last day, is that top 6 spot. Who is going to be the one to claim that?
Yeah, the 6th one is obviously what we're going to be paying attention to. Although I do like to mention that 3rd seed plays 6th seed going into playoffs. 4th seed plays 5th seed. So obviously, whether SSG or M80 takes that 3rd seed spot, you're going to be playing, quote unquote, the weaker of all of the top 6 teams. So that is something just to add on top of it to make things a little sweeter for the pot.
There will be maybe a little bit of jockeying for position, but it is all about that 6th spot and final spot into playoffs, like you said. The schedule ahead today is a good one. We'll start out with something that may not have the biggest playoff implications, but we will eventually get to some pretty important matchups. Cloud9 and Oxygen, Orgless and Wildcard. That is where our focus lies today.
That is what I'm looking at the absolute most. Obviously for Cloud9, the dream still lives on, but it really comes down to that game and finding those 3 points, and then they have to sit there and watch all their hopes and dreams be played out versus the Orgless and Wildcard game.
I mean, the pressurized games are always going to be the most exciting, but it sure is unfortunate that the last day we're getting M80, Shopify, DZ, SSG. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit of a taste to what's to come for the playoffs, and it's still going to be a great game regardless, because for those teams at the top, it's all about pride. You don't want to just go into the last game just saving strats, not putting your best foot forward. You want to be able to close it out, especially a team like SR that probably wants to go undefeated.
I think we have a good chance to see potentially 5 very competitive games today. I mean, if we can see M80 and SSG go to toe-to-toe with Dark Zero and Shopify. But our first game of the day, like I said, maybe not the greatest playoff implications, but at the bottom of the standings, we'll have a great opportunity to see how these teams stack up against one another. We know how important it is to not be in last place, especially for a team like Envy, first stage in the NAL.
Yeah, I think that was the one takeaway from Envy as a whole, is they did not want to be in the last place going in or finishing the stage out. Both teams, it's their first season in the NAL. Obviously, you can't expect too much, so it's really just going to be a battle of who's going to be last place. But both teams, a lot of good takeaways regardless.
Well, we decided that, you know what, the best approach for today will be to focus on these teams' stage as a whole. The good, the bad, what went well, and maybe what they can focus on for next time. Laxing, Cruelty, they had a pretty bummer start to the stage, but not far from what we expect.
Listen, let's call it like it was. The beginning of the stage, it wasn't anything great. Did they live up to expectations? I believe they did. I didn't really have a lot of hope of them coming into this league and really hitting the ground running, really finding success, being a top team. But what I said, and I emphasized time and time again, is I wanted to see them indoctrinate a new style of play. Because what got them through LATAM and in their own regional subdivision was the success that brought them that success, but it wasn't something that I thought was going to be defining in the NAL, and sure enough, it wasn't. But that's not to say that we didn't see glimpses of success from this roster, so I am glad to say that, sure, the start wasn't pretty, but at least the end, we saw something more tangible that we can hold on to, that hopefully going forward, we can see something a little better.
Yeah, week 2 and week 3, it was played a 4-5. They did have a couple of bright spots, M80, a big win, and a decent showing against Shopify.
Yeah, and when we talk about resilience with a lot of these brand new rosters, that's where they struggle the most. And for Shopify going up 6-1, almost closing this out 7-1, it really came off of Cruelty just digging deep. Ivan having a big 3K that instilled hope, gave them that bark that they needed to be able to come back. Sure, they still lost, but then they carry that immediately over into that M80 game where, again, all of us, everyone at home, pinned against the wall, we just would say M80 was going to be a landslide going against Cruelty. That was the exact opposite. We saw Cruelty dominate that match, look far better on their attacks, look far more convincing, but then it starts to trail off. They start to lose steam, and again, it's something tangible that we can hold on to. Is it enough to get fully behind them? No, but is it enough to look forward to into stage 2 to see improvements, whether they make a roster change, whether they stay together, whatever the outcome is, I just want to see them take from each and every single game that they had, do whatever they need to in scrims, and fix it going into next stage.
Those back-to-back matchups were a statement for Cruelty because they would look like they were going to come into the league and all of the top teams underestimated them. SR and M80 kind of looked down on them. They didn't just roll over and become the laughing stock of the league. They didn't just go out without fighting. They put up a fight. They beat M80. They demanded that respect, and that's so important for a team's first stage in the NAL is to prove themselves, prove their worth, and show that they can compete. You're not going to be able to just get some free points off us. So still, not a great stage for them, but obviously those wins were a defining moment that they are to be respected.
Well, on the other hand, Envy kind of had an opposite start to the stage almost. Instead of starting on the back foot, we actually saw some of those glimmers right out of the gate.
Yeah, Envy started out pretty great. We were really impressed, specifically with that SR game coming right out the gate. The way that they were able to play against Shopify Rebellion, a team that we expected to be top 2. I mean, Shopify's top 1 now. But obviously, for them to keep it so close, they were displaying some amazing high-level performance siege, with specifically being able to identify the gap and take it immediately, react off of it as soon as they're able to see that exposure. And that was something that we commend teams at the top for being able to do, because it's so difficult to be able to drone and manage all the time, manage everything, see an opening, and then go for a fast execute. And they did it right off the back, and we thought that was going to be their floor, the average for Envy.
Yeah, the problem was we quickly discovered that that was the exception, not the norm, and it started to kind of fall apart.
Yeah, it wasn't really their floor. It was their ceiling, so to say. It was only really downhill from there. Specifically, I mean, we saw issue after issue, but in the wildcard game that we saw yesterday, this is where it looked like they were just stuck in the mud. Wildcard were constantly finding openings against them, using the Envy's tactic against them. And after 1 or 2 rounds of losing this way, you'd think any team, not just Envy, would try to adapt, try to change it up, play a different style of play, but they didn't. They kind of were stuck in their ways, scared to transition into a new style of play because they were losing and hemorrhaging round after round. So they consistently were giving Wildcard the position that they needed to go for those executes, and there wasn't really much change from them, and it just looked like their heads were down. And so that being said, it started off really good, ended really poorly, but JJ Blast and Envy, one of the things that they talked about is that they didn't want to make changes going into stage 2. They really want a hard focus on working with this roster. There's some good tangibles there. I think confidence was a big aspect as to why they got worse progressively.
Rumor has it that is something that most teams say, though, going into that second stage. They're not going to make any changes.
Yeah, you say you're not going to make changes, and then
Lax is gone, and then Fox is gone, and then
I mean, I understand not wanting to make changes. At the same time, there's not necessarily any players, if you're Envy, that you would be looking at that are better, so to say, that are free at the moment. You know, you never know what happens, but I do think there was some good takeaways, specifically against SR, looking at where SR is now, you know, into that Cloud9 game. There's glimmers of hope.
Well, Cruelty, their one win of the stage came on bank. Envy, their one win came on Skyscraper. Those two maps, at least for now, left up. You think we're going there, Laxing?
I don't think so. I think we're going to, okay, I was going to say maybe a Clubhouse. You're going to end the stage, have a little fun on Clubhouse, but I think we're going to see something different. We haven't seen Chalet from either one of these teams, so it's good to show, you know, that they still want to try something, and I think this is the best case scenario. I'm not really going to focus too much who has the overhead on one another on this map. What I'm looking at is that they're using this as a game day scrim, using this to get more experience underneath their belt, practice their inconsistencies, expand upon their inconsistencies, and just look better going into. Because at the end of the day, as we know, game day reps are far more important than scrims. And also what we know, scrims have looked very lackluster for these teams in particular, as we've seen on Twitter.
Right, this is what I was going to say. Envy, they apparently have been trolling some scrims. A perfect opportunity to kind of show us that they are here to lock in and stay focused. A game that does not have big stakes on it, but no better opportunity than to get some practice in.
I mean, of course, it's about the practice. And it's not just that they don't have big stakes on it. I mean, we saw Cruelty had to ban out Skyscraper at the last ban. So obviously both teams are putting in their effort. With Cruelty banning Skyscraper, obviously Envy would want to play it because it's the only map they were able to get a win on. Chalet is a good aggressive map. It's a good change of pace for both of these teams because they're playing against equally as skilled opponents, so they're going to be able to have success when it comes to their over-aggressive, going for those trades, those fast plays. So I'm expecting a very high-octane, high-velocity matchup, very aggressive, very fast-paced.
Yeah, I said all 5 of these games today could be very competitive. This one to start it out, Laxing, do you think this one's going to go one way or the other?
I'm going to have to go with Cruelty. Like, if I have to, you know, compare Orgless, Cruelty, Envy, I mean, I would have to say Cruelty has shown the most improvement, in my opinion. Sure, maybe not in the standings, but just at least where I had them coming into the league, I definitely think Cruelty has shown more, at least in definite comparison to Envy. So for that alone, just for that simple reason, I'm going to have to go with Cruelty.
Yeah, I agree. I think Cruelty's improved with the reps that they've gotten, whereas Envy kind of got knocked back. They need to be able to go back in the lab, change some things up. So I'm obviously going to predict Cruelty going into this. Honestly, I believe in Cruelty. I feel like if they just have that confidence that they had against M80, they'll look really good.
I want a statement game from both these teams to end the stage. Just a statement game that everyone can be like, I believe.
All right, well, I know and I believe that the guys on Envy would love to prove you both wrong, so we'll see if they can do exactly that. We've got Lynx and Ollie on the call to start off our final day of this.
Thank you very much, Jonah. And we begin the final day of group stage with perhaps the most high-octane matchup. And I don't say that sarcastically, Ollie, because getting first is great. But you know what's better than getting first? Not getting last. And I'm of the opinion, I kind of am sympathetic with Gabe and Fox on the death. I have loved watching Cruelty play. I thought they've made so many improvements. Their attacks in particular, for a new team to look that good and develop that well on that side, even with the standings, I feel like maybe it's emotions, Ollie, but based on the merit, I feel like they deserve that 9th place finish.
I don't know if it's emotions or not. I think certainly you may be looking at individuals on each team as to, you know, sort of say, who do you want to not be last? And I think that someone that has made it very clear that they do not want to be last was a player that was on your screen just a moment ago, and that was JJ. He said it in the interview. Whatever the outcome, just so long as they are not last. So it might not be a game with huge stakes in terms of standings, but it's definitely a game that has a lot of pride on the line for both of these two teams. There is a serious contingent of Envy fans out there today.
Let's calm down. I'm not like, if you think Envy will win, that's totally fine. That's fair. 77-23, really? Envy beats C9. Like, and that's no disrespect to C9, but Cruelty beat Envy. Cruelty, I'm already thinking 7 rounds ahead. Cruelty beat M80 in pretty dominant fashion. Envy was a lot closer of a game, but one attacking, one on Skyscraper. 77? Really?
Seems like a lot.
That seems like a lot. But
There's obviously some fluid, very liquid people in the Twitch chat at the moment, isn't there, in terms of how many channel points they've got?
True, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it's day 9, and I imagine there's a lot of people who made that Cruelty M80 bet who are basically living like the Rockefellers afterwards. They literally found oil underneath their feet, and they're just living it up now. But either way, I think we can say for both these teams, I think it is fitting that on the last day of the group stage, when Cruelty and Envy will not play any more matches after this for this stage. These are our two newest teams into the NAL, coming from two very different sources. Cruelty coming in from a region that, let's be honest, if you know anything about the NA Scrim reports, have not exactly had the greatest and most well-respected reputation. And while they are and might end last, I think we can all agree that they have actually played qualitatively pretty well, given where they started. Now, not the greatest start, because as I was about to say, Envy come from Tier 2. They come from the place where the scrim health isn't exactly the best. It's not taken all that seriously. And people have a tendency to auto-pick Jaeger and go for a spawn peek immediately. And one thing you could say about Snake right now, at least he does it on game day.
Fair play. I've seen a lot of Jaeger recently. He's been
I missed him.
brought back into the fray since the ADSs got updated to deal with Capital bolts as well. That's a bit of a weird animation fail. Unable to burst through that castle barricade, unfortunately, but does mean that he is going to have to get that opened somehow. He's never gone 6, so he's going to look to try and open up the old bathroom as well. It's a very solar-sided push right now from Cruelty starting on the attack. They don't have a benefit of Blackbeard or a Ying, but they do still have plenty of tools. Now, Bees would have been lovely to deal with Snake here on this solar stair. Instead, it's going to be the old-fashioned way, throwing in a boatload of utility and hoping someone can come in off the back of it, but I don't see anyone there ready for the catch to take advantage of that.
And if there was, Snake certainly gets away. I mean, put to 1 HP is nothing to scoff at, but you still let him get away, though there's the trade. Ivan with the super shorty? Is the Brava hopped into Trophy, perhaps? That's at least the vibe I'm getting, but that find onto JJ and onto Snake. You even the 3v3, but as we often say, that utility loss to the attacking side is far more pronounced. You lose the fire bolts, the smoke bolts, and the bees, which not only are good for the intel, but would have been good for the burn that you just did. You would have had maybe some more flashbangs in store, some more nades. And now, Cruelty have to reset and try to pinch these remaining players on the top floor. Oh, I didn't even realize Emilio has Diffuser? How does he have Diffuser?
Emilio's actually played this really well. He was playing inside a solar, and he's just been able to keep dropping back ever so slightly. And with the time ticking down, that's exactly what he needs to do as a defender. Twits is going to find one onto Pyrox. Cruelty have stalled out massively. They were really relying on some of that utility, and we didn't even get to see the effect of the Capital or the Grim. Now they've just got a blind push doors. It's not going to look like a great round one.
No, it won't. Emilio likely on for 3. No! Twist instead gets his double. And it is a 2-man hold of bedroom and bathroom on the second floor to get to Envy there first. Off the back of, I wouldn't say necessarily a failed solar clear, Ollie. I mean, they got in, and not only did they push the Jaeger back, they even got the kill there and got another one in the process. But obviously, they lose an important operator, Skimsy, to an early spawn peak. Not great. These things happen. It's about how you recover. But then I'm curious what happened with Fatal. Just hopping into bathroom with the diffuser. What went on there? Because that was before the Brava completed those trades. Was he trying to hop in and maybe try to pinch that player as well? Just seemed like maybe it was a bit scattered. I don't know. Maybe there's a run out too. Who knows? That bathroom balcony is not the easiest position to play.
No, it's really not. But Fatal was a key part of the puzzle there, because as soon as he goes, that allows Emilio to rotate back into bathroom. So, I mean, why the diffuser gets dropped in bathroom, I never know. I just don't think the diffuser should be going that way, ever. You know, it should be on solar windows and then in through bedroom door. Bit of a strange one, but then again, it was never going to be plan A, was it, when you lose your Grim in the first 10 seconds, 20 seconds of the round?
No,
you know, you're always going to have to adapt and overcome, and Cruelty just showing that he didn't quite have that adaptation, despite really knowing where everybody was. Like, they had some great intel. I just don't think they could do too much about it with what they'd brought. But let's see how round 2 shakes out. Obviously, we do speak about Chalet as a map that has great opportunities for attackers. A lot of that is in the fact that you don't necessarily need a hard breacher. You don't... Oh, there we go.
Ooh.
Ivan.
That's the kind of Dokkaebi movement we saw in that M80 game.
Slippy.
Fluid on that bottom floor. Catches rival on the rotation, and now it's Cruelty starting with an advantage. At the drop of a hat, too. Catching not only us, but Envy off guard by extension. And now, if you're trying to clear library, Ollie, 5v4, and you're doing the same util clear, or the same kind of util clear you just did last round, you're feeling great.
I think it's a much better position that Cruelty find themselves in here. Able to pick up that opening pick. Rival's got some cameras that you can flick, but it's only the defaults and 2 BPs, so they should be dealt with, and especially with the Brava on side, you would hope that those BPs get found out and destroyed. Not even necessarily converted, just the fact that there's a Brava there means there's more drones in the game, so you're going to find more information. A little pressure now coming inside of inside of office, excuse me. They will have to deal with the player on library stairs. Now that bulletproof shield's going to be a bit tricky to get rid of. Not really got anything to get rid of that at range. You could use a Hibana pellet, but it's not a great option. Monty's really going to be required here to front up against that.
Yeah. Call's going out. I think Ivan's is going to have a lot of importance as well, given the lack of utility that Cruelty have to deal with these library players as he creeps up these stairs, spots one, but Envy are ready for it. That's just good foresight from Snake. It's a common backstab at this point, especially if you look at Cruelty struggling to make progress. You know that somebody's probably going to try to push up that staircase. Emilio cuts the head off of Skims the outside of Ivy window. That's a decent trade for Cruelty, but 2 rounds in a row now. They've tried to clear out these defenders and been completely stopped in the process. One at least is spotted, but he's got a hatch right there. Twist drops down from connector into the site. Snake also retreating back down to the bottom floor. And with 30 seconds remaining, only thing Cruelty really have going for them is they have a lot of smokes, and even though it's one flash, at least a flash to try to block off an angle. And they cleared out libraries, so that vertical angle will no longer be a problem. But if Monty's putting the diffuser down, these 2 guns are in a disadvantaged position, 2 on 3. One spotted inside of stock. Fatal will take a look that way. Very easy position to check. Very logical as well. Matumbo already halfway down. Where is this counterplay? This coverage is actually good so far, but it doesn't really have to be any better. Nobody from NV challenges. Pyrox goes down, and now it's all of a sudden Snake in a 1 versus 2. No gun in front of him, but that Monty with a goo mine in his foot. He tries to keep full extended, but he can't take it out. This is going to be a 1v1. So Fatal rotates up top, holding the hatch as the next smoke goes down. But Snake bamboozled a little bit by that secondary utility, and on 1 HP, being poisoned to death, Matumbo finds him, and Cruelty somehow bring round 2 back.
Good salvage there, I think, from Cruelty. They didn't really have a very good way of dealing with that top floor player in Fireplace, and to send the Monty up the main stairs just seems a little bit, not careless, but it just feels like a strange choice. When you've got Ivy that you could be pushing into instead, it's like, how has Monty got himself to main stairs? How has he even been able to walk up, by the way, with site players there? It just seems super strange. And then to get the final kill of the round, like, the Monty's been doing laps. Cruelty level it up 1 round apiece then, and Envy have maybe missed out on an opportunity there because they've done such a fantastic job of holding that top floor. They dropped off with 30 or so seconds left to go. There was no kill holes in the stock rotate for the Maverick. Maverick hadn't got into the basement early on and made any kill holes. There was a load of focus upstairs in the office side, so it wasn't even like the site had been prepped particularly well by the attackers. It was just what the defenders had done to it. They'd not really affected their own touch onto it. So for Cruelty to come away with that, a little bit of a surprise, but we get ourselves a level game and maybe another spawn peek here. Just fading away there, Snake. He's going to live up to his namesake and crawl on his belly, as he does not want to give another chance at that mud window.
Hey, we know what his spirit animal is.
Exactly.
Ooh. I've been trying to sneak in his Nook through the front door. Have to try and go back and revise that burglary plan. Snake finding another. Skimsy taken down pretty unceremoniously on library balcony. Nice wall bang by Fatal. At least that's the library player dealt with, but the action at the moment is entirely sporadic and also entirely at Envy's discretion. That's kind of been the theme of these past couple rounds. Last round was a lot slower, Ollie, and it's because Envy didn't want to engage. They played behind their setup in library, but the first and the third, we got people going for spawn peaks. We got people that are waiting for Cruelty to push, that are taking the initiative to not even necessarily bring the fight to the attack, but just be a problem that if the attack deals with, they'll have to work through it. And if they don't deal with it, as you can see with Ivan and Skimsy, they get punished for it.
Snake's lucky to have made it as far into the round as he did after his antics in the early few seconds. So the fact that he's been taken out is no great consequence at the moment to Envy. They're defending downstairs in the basement. Those Vulcan packs are already out there. The attackers have lost that sort of backstab in the Nook. Also lost a couple of nades on the Nook as well, which is more likely going to be more important than any backstab that Ivan would have been able to pull off. It's not easy to pull a backstab off into that basement area. And they've lost a little bit of flank protection as well, so it is going to force those cams to be watched a little bit harder. There is a cam in Wine Cellar at the moment, which will be providing quite a bit of information. If you know where the defenders are, then you know where they aren't. And there's nice pre-fire in here, but it isn't going to land for Fatal. Gets away from that and lets Mutombo take up the angle. Just probing at this site, trying to destroy as much utility as possible. They're going to have to commit at some point.
They will have to. You got to be kicking yourself if you're Fatal. That could have been a 3v3 right there. You already saw how close things can get from the last round. Not getting that. And Rival might be on low HP, but that TCSG packs a punch. And if you get caught by it, or God forbid, a C4, as one lands on bottom main, it puts Mutombo to 1 HP. Nice wrap around the corner from Pyrox. Clearly concerned about the flank. At least they've got that 3v3. Making it an advantage now as Fatal redeems himself from that earlier fumble. And Rival on low HP still alive. That leaves Emilio the only one with full HP intact. But everyone in the lobby is worse for wear. Everyone's got a scratch. Everyone's scuffed. Mutombo looks up as Emilio holding the back line. Just him and Rival waiting to run out this clock. Mutombo so concerned about these defenders, and it's the threat that is most potent. Envy retake their lead, not looking all that stumped by round 2.
I love the way that they just played so patient there in that final few seconds. So much temptation. If you know you've got someone down, or you've at least put a few shots into him, and there's a chance that they're down, or the one shot, there is so much temptation to then take that 2 versus 1. But they locked it in. Happy to play the time, happy to play the 6-man. Cruelty with a very weak attack there as well when you consider the main stairs walk down. Like, didn't get anything done on the boiler side. I think they might have got main open, but it was the lack of 2 guns. That's what a lot of that comes down to. Don't have sufficient... In fact, they didn't even get main open.
I know.
Yeah, shocking. It doesn't even matter about the extra guns at that point, because it's not like you'd lost that hard breacher. You'd not lost anything. You'd lost some stuns and you'd lost some nades and a Nomad and a Nook. Like, there's no hard breach there. Strange lineup to bring, especially when there is no hard breach that's been banned at all throughout this game. We're going to get a Brava ban coming in along with a Fenrir for our top of round 4 bans. The Brava ban makes a lot of sense, and I like that from them, because now they can just really lean into that information game. We can see JJ already bringing out the Maestro. Another bulletproof camera kicking around. We've got the Malusi, we've got Wubwubs, we've got all sorts of util. And again, it's not only that the Brava can hack the util, it's that you've got more cameras so you can discover more things, more elements of the map. So the fact that that has now been taken away from Cruelty when we've already seen them struggle somewhat, and it makes sense that they're bringing out the Flores, right? They need to deal with that stuff.
Brava really kind of become a sleeper, I would say, ban with just the introduction of the new system. The last time I remember seeing this many Brava bans was actually when she first came out in 2023. And I remember making a comment at the time, like, Brava's strong, but like, people were target banning Brava against Oxygen. And I was like, I don't know if this is really all that important. But as you said, especially with this particular lineup, now that you have the increased ban flexibility, it really is something you might want to invest in. JJ already glad he picked that Maestro. Going for the run out too. He found himself dying around this trophy dining position before, but now with the LMG, takes down Mutombo early. That's another 4v5 for Cruelty when they try to go in for a Solar Stairs clear. And I mean, they got the EMPs, but they've already all been used. You still got Snake playing on Solar Stairs, almost half the round gone. And Cruelty have made even less progress than they did the first time.
They've really been stumped by this Solar Stair player, haven't they? It's something that they're just struggling to deal with. They've got a couple of EMPs left, and they've got some burn for the Aruni gates, but they've not really got more than one chance at this. Can't really tell if I like that.
We've seen it a couple times now.
Just blocking off the line of sight. Like, it's okay. I mean, someone can get lucky, you know?
Yeah.
Ooh. Nice entry there from Fatal. We'll find one. Much better from Cruelty. They've actually rotated, and they've got a lot of the time in the round to do so. There's still a minute. They've got some good pressure now, and they've got fairly equal advantage. And with that kill onto JJ, actually an advantage now, and they still know where Snake is.
But they've been here before. They've been able to actually trade these mid-round players quite well, and yet still it always gets so close. But now, that's what they needed. Snake tries to get aggressive, apply pressure on the players down below, and Skimzy find him. So again, it's another two-man hold on the top floor, which was sufficient for Envy last time, but this would be at far more daunting margins. Rival gets down Ivan first. Again, 2 rounds in a row on such low HP. What a trade. So many of these in Siege X. 1 for 1 only favors Cruelty, though. Emilio will have to be 6-1 by the end of this round. There's one. Oh, the other just spots him, too. UMP might be a pea shooter, but even just a few legumes over that way, and Fatal will fall. Diffuser starting to be planted. Doesn't even fall off. He just full commits. We're in the post. Emilio quickly running up. Fatal's got to be careful on this fall off, but he's got the sense for the cover. Castle spots him, flicks him onto the head down to the right. Nice little 2v4 for Envy, but not nice if you want Cruelty ending in 9th place today. Envy move up 3-1 on their Chalet defenses.
I think Twitch chat might know what they're on about. I think 77% of people watching might know what the score is here, because Envy are looking fantastic. They're not making mistakes. They're playing very patiently and very reserved. And even in the 2 versus 4 there, it isn't something that's daunting them at all. Now, what I will say is Envy have started off on the defense, and this is where they've done well. We haven't really seen this same level of coordination on their attacks. And I guess the same could be said for Cruelty. So it does stand to reason that Cruelty is struggling on their attacks at the moment, but they have been given some absolute layups that they've struggled to convert. A player on Solar Stairs should just be dealt with. It shouldn't be a problem. And the nice thing is that Envy are recognizing that it's a struggle, and they're throwing more bodies at it to then get more kills. It's like they're just doubling down. They're like, oh, you want to take that? No worries. We're just going to invest in it even more heavily and come off even better.
And you mentioned that it's the same for Cruelty, and it is the same in that there's, one weak side or, one clear stronger side, but this is their stronger side in the NA League so far. It's been their attacks that have been the thing we praise them for, where we've seen the most development, that were what did it against M80. 5 attacks on Bank, and sure, people might say that map is attacker-sided, but you can't just waltz in and, win the round while you're asleep. It's not skyscraper defense. It requires some coordination. There's got to be a little bit of competency there. But Chalet, I would argue, if you really want to grade which one is easier, I would say Chalet certainly has the capability to put the defense in a bit of a box and make you convert those advantages, or give you plenty of opportunities to do so. And the fact that Cruelty is failing to do that on the side that has been the more impressive one, the side that has made the games they've lost even still somewhat close, makes me worried just this second half might not be a really great showcase for either team, but that's really going to be a problem for Cruelty if even their better side ends up being the issue.
Well, that's it. Envy have done a great job so far. 3 rounds. Still got an opportunity to get a couple more. They're giving themselves a nice ride of things on the attack with how hard they've worked on the defense right now.
You're feeling no
It's going to be a
pressure.
very similar take that Cruelty are setting up here. Got the Monty again. They do have that Hibana that's going to be breaching through those office walls and looking to apply pressure onto the player at Library Stairs. Have the the Sledge for the nades this time.
Oh, Sledge.
Nice bees to push back any players, and waiting for that nade to get sent in from Pyrox. He did send one, but it didn't hit the deployable. I wonder if it was destined for something else. Snake not too worried at the moment, though. He can just drop back for the time being. But I like how Cruelty are setting themselves up right now, because they've got really key positions being held. Tumbu, again, he's managed to walk himself up these main stairs, and he can now bear down on the other side of the deployable. Should be able to find an angle here for Pyrox or Skimzy.
Ivan does find JJ. That's the smoke going down early. Really, really good pick. That 5v4 isn't always enough for Cruelty, but at least it's something. And there, that is what we needed to see. Pyrox with a walk up the balcony finds 2 different players. Twist and Emilio fall. Rival and Snake forced back to the site. The Cruelty are not even pressuring this. They've had the Monty at the doorway this entire round so far. With 40 seconds to reset, they can get vertical, they can drone more if they want, and now at a 5v1, Skimzy completely removing Rival. Cruelty with unequivocally their most convincing round so far.
Flawless. They made us wait a little bit of time to show us that perfect round, but finally they pulled it out of the bag. And it was a round that, let's be honest, they've played pretty much the exact way every single time they've attacked downstairs into Baron games. This wasn't anything new for Envy to deal with. I think letting Matumbi walk up those main stairs, it's a bit of a problem. Maybe JJ should have committed some smoke canisters to that just to stop that flood coming through. I know that's something he did in the previous round, which Envy were successful in. I'm not saying that one smoke canister would have changed it, but it might have just bought a little bit more time for the player on Fireplace to then try and deal with his current position. Opportunity for Cruelty to level things up there on the basement, or an opportunity for Envy to maintain this lead. Liking the lineup a little bit better this time from Cruelty. I like it even more now we've switched off a Cali. Oh no, we're back on it. Game was for a Cali? Come on, Pyrox.
Ollie, you talk about this attacker repick too early. You set yourself up for disappointment.
But like,
You start getting excited at 15 seconds, and we got a whole 10 to disappoint you.
the thing is, I like trying to understand the mind of like why this decision was made, right?
You want to be in the comms. You want to be in the team speak.
Oh dear.
Hey,
I don't want to be in Snake's team speak.
Finally, he gets punished.
If that was me, that would have been a slam.
Slam at round 6?
If I get spawn, if I'm going for a spawn peek and I get done, I'm slamming.
At round 6?
Any round, doesn't matter.
All right. But either way, I see your point. I want to be in the mindset of the teams. And if we're in the mindset here, I mean, oh! There's got to be a couple things inside of that player's mindset outside of West Main. TCSG shots flying past. I believe that's fatal, especially with the track stingers going out. Cruelty setting themselves up for a middle floor clear at the moment. Monty sat outside of Trophy. 2 players outside of West Main. I was going to say one issue we've seen from Cruelty, though, is that Monty can sometimes be a little isolated. He likes to drift a little bit from the rest of his support, but thankfully for them, Envy are not looking to hold onto it all too heavily. Rival, who was firing some shots here earlier, is now backed off to Bar. Likely in a prime position to fall back with blue stairs still in their control. Main stairs as well in all likelihood. So that's why Matumba, with half the round to go, will start looking towards the site as he moves down West Main.
Do we think that Cruelty are worried about the West Main flank? I'm not sure there's enough track stingers up there. I feel like they could have done more.
Could have had 5.
We are seeing the Cali, and the reason why it has been brought is an attempt to get the wall open. The Cade Claw has been placed a little bit further back. I'm not sure if that's going to do the job or not. Cali with no more shots isn't going to be able to really give a good go onto that, so there is a likelihood that something remains closed here.
What did all these lances get? Did they all just get destroyed?
So both of the lances were used quite quickly, and I think Skimsy's then taking his time to throw the Selmas. Looks as though we're going to get Boiler open at least, but that's only a crouch, and that's actually been impact trick. To C4 comes out of the breach. This is a disaster for Cruelty.
Oh
They've
my
got
God.
no other way of getting in.
And Emilio's retaken the dining hatch too. Oh, this could be real bad, and then they just kill 2 people. Skimsy on the Rival, Pyrax on a JJ. I mean, there goes the Monty, and that's Diffuser. But they know where this guy is, and I don't know if they have time to send somebody up, but they've got more than enough guns to deal with Emilio on this hatch. In fact, there is one trying to deal with them, and it's Skimsy from below to deliver the fatal one. 3-3 half guaranteed for Team Cruelty. Will that be enough? Well, Envy have won 4 attacking rounds in the past, I think 3, I was going to say 4 attacks in the past 3 games. My bad. They've won 3 attacks in the past 4 games. So maybe it won't be enough.
You better lock in, because they're going to have to do something they have not done yet. And that is win a game on the attack. Blitz and an Azami, both removed. I want to rewind for a moment back to that previous round. We didn't get to see the gunfights, but I have no idea how 2 players from Envy die pretty much straight away. Like, why are they peeking anything at that point? Sure, you've got the Monty, but all you've got to do is watch a hatch and a door. That's it.
Attackers need to locate and
Kind of beggars belief because we kind of credited Envy for the way that they were playing. They were playing super patient. The rounds they were winning, there was no moving them. They had an advantage. They were just letting the clock tick down. They were playing some really smart Siege. And it just feels like it's devolved a little bit. Honestly, wouldn't have been mad to see Envy use the timeout early on in that first phase because I feel like that's where they set themselves up to win the game. Unless they want to try and save it for their attacks, which obviously is now what they're doing. But I feel like the timeout probably has more value on their defenses because we know that they can do it on the defense. Whereas the attack, it does seem a little bit more difficult.
5 seconds left.
We'll have to see as the game develops, though. Pretty similar in the banning department. The castle gets removed this time instead of the mirror. And the blitz will be removed as well instead of the ying. Neither ying or mirror present in this round, so it doesn't really bear too much resemblance to what we saw previously. We are going to be defending upstairs to start things off. It's going to be Fatal this time in that key solar stair position.
Shout out.
I wonder if Envy will be able to deal with it a little bit better.
Well, they aren't exactly long on utility clear. But by the same token, they've got, what, you know, six projectiles, not including the EMPs, and not including the EMPs, as they might just try to EMP those ADSs. They're static. They're not going to move. Hopefully you can just Z-ping or mark them and take them down. Ooh, unfortunate. Lost that Twitch drone from Twist. Tries to find the standard F-Naught placed outside of the office balcony door, and, well, gets his first shot without destroying any utility. Especially with not too much burn. If you want to try and destroy the ADSs that way, that could end up being problematic. Or if you wanted to zap those Zotos off the wall. EMP is, in fact, being used for a front take. I don't know if I've seen a full dining plant in a bit, but Ivan making good use of that vertical angle.
I think I like the approach from Envy. They're sort of playing where they're strongest right now. They're looking to try and get that wall open nice and early, but they are going to have to deal with these players inside of office. Do have the Monty that can help bully them a little bit, though. And the Deimos is going to assist that quite heavily as well. Ivan, he can place the Zoto canister and just buy himself a little bit of time here. We've got Snake on the rotate up as well on those library stairs. The real key player here is JJ. He has the diffuser, and he's the one that needs to keep himself safe. Ivan takes a ton of damage there in that engagement. So much so, he's actually going to drop back to site. He's used his Zotos, and he's now going to rely on that C4. Top floor is slowly but surely getting cleared. As you can see, Cruelty are eventually starting to just give it up a little bit at a time.
Ooh.
And it's likely down to that Monty pushing through. JJ doing a great job. The thing that worries me now, Lynx, there's 2 C4s still left.
Yeah.
And you've got to find that vert, and you've not got a kill. Like, yeah, you've taken the control, but where's the kill?
Well, there's one. Rival is holding flank outside with that AK, and it's the smoke that goes down in sight. You still got 1 C4. My concern was Envy spending a lot of time full clearing the top floor, and that's burning time that could go for the execute, and Cruelty might end up going for the retake either up blue or up trophy, depending on what happens. But the Monty's going all the way through. Fatal losing a lot of HP to these vertical angles down in sight. I mean, how much time have Envy spent, I mean, to be fair, finding these defenders, and yet Cruelty have managed to keep it even. 3-3, only 10 seconds left, and JJ is still not in a position to put that diffuser down. Well, Skimsy does vanish, and Ivan cuts down another. C4 sent out. He's the only one left. But on 000, where is he? Snake double blinds him. Double kill to finish it off, too. It is an extremely close round when it comes to the red. But Envy still pull away with the first.
I mentioned there that JJ was going to be the most important player in that round, and he certainly was on the Monty. Clearing that top floor, getting the kit down, extending the time there, allowing his teammate to come in and get that kill. They did spend their time on that top floor clear, but they'd left themselves with just enough. And I think, to be honest, Cruelty were a little bit rattled and maybe a bit too reliant on those C4s. We didn't actually see a single C4 kill come through, which honestly, I was kind of expecting. Mutumbu still had one in his hand right up until the last few seconds where he throws it out in an attempt to deny the plant. At that point, it's a little bit too late. You can't be looking for plant denial at that point. You need to be looking for kills prior to then alleviate pressure later on. That's a real last resort sort of use of a C4 right there. And when you're on your own, you just don't have the fortune to throw it out, be covered, and all the things that go along with it.
Well, and I was thinking, I would have liked to see a flank from Fatal on that Jaeger.
5 seconds
I mean, you know, you're kind of sitting in sight. Sure, you can contest the vertical angles with the 416, but at 20 seconds left, the attack is like they've solidified the plan in their mind, and they are committed to executing this particular vision. And even though you're in the 4v5, as you mentioned, the C4s ended up being played in a bit too reactive of a role, a bit too late in the round. But if you try and go for that flank right as Envy are committing, they were fully trained on pushing everybody down West Main, trying to cut off those defenders in particular. That might have been an extra dimension to throw Envy off guard completely, and especially with the Jaeger, you've already used all your utility. You really are useful for the gun. Just try something. Plus, 4's kind of a crowd inside of kitchen and dining.
Yeah, I was really expecting JJ to die to a C4 there. Just because a defender can be like, oh, the Monty's there.
Somebody gets shot in the back even.
Yeah, just like C4 on ping, boom on my call, bang, he's dead. Like,
Yeah.
anyway. Envy, they went around on attack. Look how
Hey,
we just glossed over that.
We're now, hey, 4-4 game. 4-4 game.
Or are we just acting like it's an everyday thing? Like, it's no big deal, you know?
No, we should. We should praise Envy for winning that attack. I do think there were some ways that Cruelty could have found a way back in there, but Envy do in fact win it. And that's not a trend Cruelty want to continue. If they want to stave off a last place finish, then Bar and Games would be a very nice place to start. The attack can often get tripped up on that library position, which seems to be where Envy are focusing on for the moment. But as a Dokkaebi call goes out, we do got to be careful. There was some basement presence too. And the Selmas are going in. Ooh, one stuck on the window, unfortunately. Envy making a lot of use of these smoke grenades or smoke canisters to then throw a Selma on a wall and get the breach open, at least shielded in the defense's view. Quick little trade. Rival onto Skimzy. Ivan onto Rival. Nobody with a clear advantage with a minute 15 left.
Ivan was super lucky to get that kill onto Rival there. It's a little bit of a shame. I felt like Rival got a really cheeky kill and was just trying to get himself out of a bad place. Pyrox is really tucked right now as well. Mutombo, he's not going to be able to assist. Pyrox finds one, but is immediately taken out again. This trade game, good from both sides right now. BP destroyed. Still a C4 left for Fatal, as we've already seen. Cruelty do tend to keep hold of those for a little bit later on. The site has been fully prepped right now. And the main question is the cover sufficient? Do they know about the yokai drones? I would guess so, because we did see a drone get pinged out on one earlier, so you would anticipate that the drone saw the yokai. Envy can't wait too long here. There's only 25. Need to start doing something soon.
I was going to say killing Ivan would be ideal, but Snake tries to re-peek that angle, ends up going down. This trade game has been so good, but JJ just dropping by himself. Twist with the self-flash. Bounces off the rafters in between the floors. Sprints into stock. Easy prediction on that spot, but only 3 seconds left, and Mutombo is anywhere but here. He has vanished. One yokai for farewell. Tie game once again.
Feels like a real missed opportunity there from Envy. And that wasn't the way that we've seen them lose rounds previously. They had everything set up, and the 3-2-1 was just, it was a bit disjointed. They didn't have information on the player inside of stock. They were assuming that there was nobody there because the wall had been breached. But there was a player there. I think they knew about the player at the bottom of blue stairs because that player eventually got downed. But it was really the stock player that was the undoing there. Had they known, they could have flashed him out. JJ gets down, maybe gets the kill. Kill onto Ivan, pretty important as well. And I mean, the yokai drones still being available. I figure both of them were probably still up at that point. There's at least one anyway. That isn't great utility clear either from Envy. A tied game. Are we destined to go even further down this rabbit hole to see who is 9th and who is 10th?
Oh, we've
Looks
got
like
to.
we might be.
You know what? You know what's on the line today? It's not a major spot. It's not any invite spot. It's not even money. This is pride. This is ego.
Pride, baby.
This is for the legacy.
Legacy.
There's a world of difference between 9th and 10th. A whole digit, in fact.
But imagine if you came out next stage and got first. Would you rather get first from 10th or first from 9th? Because then the story's better, isn't it? It's like, oh, now they're first and they were 10th. Whereas it's like, oh, now they're first, they were 9th.
That'd be a hell of a long-term gamble. If JJ came out in an interview and said that, is like, yeah, we got 10th for the narrative, and then they came back and won the next stage, I would actually, like, I would tattoo his face on any part of my body. And I'm willing to make that gamble because it's not happening. I just don't believe it. Early Candelas, by the way. Some roar doors, too. Seems like it might be a bit of a quick take. I like that roar door blocking off the closet single to allow the player to rappel in solar. Emilio also with control of bottom solar stairs, and yet somehow in the process, JJ just gets swung on master bedroom window. He already was being pretty liberal with his Candelas, but having that coverage go down isn't ideal. Actually, Rival's own entry point is blocked off because of that roar door, and Pyrox just rotates up behind it. I don't know if it's overcooked or mistimed, but that roar door actually gives the defense a more aggressive position to play, and it completely catches Envy off guard. Twist is able to take him down, but that's a really, really rough trade that not only doesn't favor Envy in terms of the man count, 4v3, especially with Emilio on low HP, but you lose that roar too. And an extra gun on the solar side when things can get so tight. Double push in, Twist and Emilio both state control of the bedroom position. Envy find one. So it's even. This two-man push might just find another, though Skimzy on the flank, able to shut him down. Or is that from the prone angle, in fact? No, it's just from a nice, clean crossfire. It's Mutombo around the corner, but again with the wrap around. Twist just not seeing it coming. Envy constantly feel caught off guard by these Cruelty players. The intel is not there. The coordination is long gone the moment JJ fell off that bedroom window. Snake with one Z-ping. He's got intel on one. Pushes up and loses the fight. Cruelty take the lead 5-4.
You mentioned there, was it an overcook? Or was it mistimed?
That's the question.
I still can't decide. I was racking my brains that whole time because on one hand, I really like it. And I'd love to see it play out with JJ still on master window. I'd love to see it play out with somebody still there on that rappel cutting through the sights, because I think that could be a difference. But in that instance, it just felt a little bit well done. It didn't feel like it was maybe the right thing to do. Maybe need a couple more operators in there. Maybe a Grim, just for a little bit more info if people are going to start playing tucked. A nice attempt there from Envy. And at the point that Cruelty take the lead, the first time in the game, I might add, they are going to take their tactical timeout.
Ooh. You know what would have been good too? You know what? I went back a little VAR moment. They had nobody bathroom window.
Okay.
Nobody bathroom window. So JJ gets peeked on master bedroom. We got two guys solar. Snake is like in Narnia. I think Snake is like watching. I think Snake's in that like long rappel angle. Maybe he's on the roof. I don't know. Either way, he's not actively watching master bedroom window and that Jaeger pushes up. Or bathroom window. I don't know if exactly he'd be able to see the Jaeger, but it's at least a greater possibility.
I really hope that timeout wasn't spent discussing the finer details of that last strat and hoping that they can get it to work next time.
That is what we're for. So I hope they weren't doing that. And if they were doing that, I'd be like, you find something better to do.
Yeah, find something better. Like, you need to go back to the labs with that one. Like, that needs 2 a.m. custom games. Get the boys online and figure it out.
Strat maker GG, whatever.
Yeah.
Get the operator icons. Make it look like a high bear video. You know how it is.
No, I sincerely hope that the content of that timeout was more, look, guys, we're doing great. We've got around. Let's just build and get another. We know where they're going to go this time. We can start to work on it.
If it was about that, though, we can at least say we got some nerds on Envy, and I respect that. I respect that. I respect the nerdiness if that was what the time was spent on. But yes, we generally know where they are going.
5 seconds remaining.
Because it's been 3 rounds. What happened 3 rounds ago? Envy got their only attack on kitchen and dining. Obviously, Cruelty have the option to go basement, and Chalet is a map where all 4 bomb sites usually tend to get played. Not unthinkable that they go basement, but given most teams like to have a 3-site rotation, I think it's easy to anticipate it be kitchen and dining, and hopefully Envy will be feeling a little more confident. Shield gets dropped, Ollie. If you want to be in the mindset of the attacking team, why are you dropping the Monty? It works so well. It didn't even get banned.
No, it's a question, isn't it? Dokkaebi got banned, so why are you not playing the Monty? Because it did work, and this time you've got, well, it's a good job because the Clash is there, isn't there? And Clash is not very friendly toward a Monty. Bees go in, Candela's go in as well, and an opening pick. Ooh, this time for Cruelty.
Bees
Falls on deaf ears.
This is just rough. I mean, what do you even do here? Twist gets 1, and the rest fall. I mean, yeah, you got West main control, but what else? A Clash is staring at you from Solar now. Skimzy actually goes down. Is the attacker holding the bathroom angle, potentially? Okay, wait, hold on. There's somebody creeping up short. This is a 1v1 for Twist if he doesn't expose himself to the Solar side. Emilio will finish off Skimzy. He's got 1 Candela 2 and Diffuser. Ivan now down. This is so winnable. Twist with 3 kills, 10 in 7 so far. Cruelty doing reconstruction mid-round, trying to hunt down this remaining attacker. Final Candela goes out, and Emilio will start putting the Diffuser down. They do not have an angle on this. They try to find it, try to thread the needle, and it does not work. We're in the post. 2v4 to 2v2. Make that a 2v1 as Twist on for 4 has put Pyrox in a difficult spot. 1 HP. He's been found. A round went from bad to worse and then excellent for Twist. 5 kills, a plant for Emilio, and Envy tie it up again.
That may be the weirdest round of CJX I have ever witnessed. The attackers get themselves into the site and then start playing like defenders. I'm looking down to see who's who. I'm like, is this really an attacker? Like
that Clash was taking the same pathing as JJ's Monty 3 rounds ago.
Exactly. I was like, why is the Clash on Solar still? This is not where it is meant to be. The Clash should be where I am right now, looking like what a messy round. Cruelty have really dropped the ball there. I mean, it's the theme of this game, though. 2 versus 4s, they've been rife in this series so far.
Oh my goodness, they have.
We have seen so many clutch ups. And that's just another one to add onto a tally that, let's be honest, it probably isn't done yet.
10 seconds
Real big individual play from Envy coming out. Is that the 3rd round they've won from like a 2v4, 2v5? Got to be getting there.
What, we had that one? We had... Oh, what was the other one? Because it was Cruelty, wasn't it?
Let's see, we had Emilio 1 versus 2, Snake 3k, and then Twist 5k. Yeah, we've had 3.
No, it was the Emilio 1v2. Yeah. And then we even in another example, it's not a 2v4, but even in that Bar Gaming round 2 that Cruelty won, that was a round that seemed they were not going to win. All of a sudden, it's just like the advantage just swung their way. It was like a 3v4, but in terms of the positioning, it seemed far more favored for Envy.
Yeah, even if it's not been like what we would class as a multi-kill or a 1vx, it's been pretty swingy.
Yes. Very pendulum Siege X game. We need an adjective for that. Pendulistic.
Let's run with it.
It's got a lot of penduality. Speaking of running, Cruelty about to run Envy's pocket on this mezzanine position. Magnets and ADSs. We really are starting to get 2020 flashbacks with those Capital Bolt changes. Envy trying their best to deal with it. I mean, you got the bees for the burn, shock drones too, Capital Bolts as well, and some secondary utility to spare. Oh, well, that's not great. It's like the DZ game all over again. Matumbo disconnects halfway through the round, and that's an opening pick of sorts, I guess.
Yeah, not one that the attackers have done anything for, mind, but it is one that they will have to take, like it or not, at this moment. And the top floor just becomes that little bit more vulnerable. Envy still not opting to bring that Monty back out. Instead, they're going to go for the Rorador strat. One, at least, will get caught inside a magnet, and then Rora gets caught themselves. They will be able to get the door down, but that's quite a price to pay.
Quite. Big price indeed. Twist even going low. This would be the ultimate pendulistic round. What, you literally are gifted an opening pick with a DC, and Cruelty just starts shutting you out entirely. Ivan 12 and 6 down, picked back up. Pyrox with another. Cruelty have only lost a man to an ISP. Comcast had more impact than Envy. We're on match point.
What a way to get to match point as well in a game that has been very back and forth. We mentioned this game, it's not for standing, it's a 9th, 10th place game, but neither of these two teams want to be last. We're going to kick it to a short break. We're going to get Matumbu back in the game. After that, we'll be right back with you.
Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, we actually got Matumbo back in the lobby. And if you somehow missed round 11, well, he DC'd, and then Cruelty did not lose a single player after that. It was effectively speaking a flawless round. Not the greatest omen for Envy. And Cruelty, I mean, points don't really matter right now. Just, again, remind you of the stakes. Both these teams will either be in 9th or 10th. 8th place is even too far out of reach. Well, technically, I guess, if Envy had one in regulation, they'd have been tied on points for C9, but tiebreaker doesn't really go their way. But we're fighting for 9th or 10th, and Cruelty have at least put themselves in a decent position to get 9th, which excites me. Ollie not as much, but it excites me.
1 round away. I mean, I'm just going with the people.
That's true. That's always what you've been. You've always been a populist. You've always been a populist.
I'm a man of the people. I'm a man of the 77% of people out there that backed Envy coming into this game. I still think it is very possible. Cruelty, they're going to start shaking in the boots at the prospect of winning this game in regulation, and Envy need to stamp down onto that and take that authority. A bit of a slower round than what we've seen so far for this top floor defense. Pyrox looking to play quite aggressive on the balcony door, but Rival this time isn't committing to it too early. A Snake on the Deimos below. It's crazy to think that we've only seen Deimos a handful of times inside of this series. It's such a popular operator for Chalet. JJ back on his Monty as well. Going to be a freebie.
Ooh.
Snake grabs a rotating Skimsy, and that's a great opening pick. Start things off for Envy.
Seen a lot of this Deimos shotgun. I mean, I swear, like, no matter who's playing it, whether it's Snake or Spoit, the M59 has seemingly been the preferred tool for many Deimoses inside of the NA League so far. And Snake certainly happy used it there. 1 pump, and Skimsy is no more. Nade up trying to destroy the hard reach denial as he also takes a look at Ivan trying to flank him from the dining position. The Monty reintroduced into Envy's lineup to try and bring us to OT. So JJ, for his pride, for the team's pride, might stave off last place, has his one and only goal at the beginning of the stage. Pyrox swinging out as the Deathmark tracker hovers, buzzes in his ear, it distracts, affects his attention, and Twist will remove him in the process. Ivan still trying to make this flank work. A long angle likely capturing Twist's life. There we go, Ivan! MPX sings in the ears of Envy, and it is a very mournful farewell given. As in the 2v1, Snake might find a player, but it seems Envy and JJ's dreams at not finishing last might have been dashed with one singular mag. Yokai stuns Snake. He's recovered the diffuser at least, and he'll look to push deeper. Another smoke goes out as Cruelty will not let the advantage slip. Playing it off utility, playing it off time. He'll attempt it. Yokai goes in again, and there is not a chance in hell. That is it. We have your last place team, and it will be Envy. Cruelty get their 2nd win of the stage, and can at least say they finished 9th.
It's such a shame for Envy there in that final round. Cruelty played incredibly well, really doubling down on that utility, recognizing that they were pretty screwed otherwise. They had to dig deep and play into that util. But that is some of the best teamwork we've seen Envy pull off this entire stage. There was a hellfire of projectiles and everything getting thrown at Cade playing in that half-wall position, and it wasn't enough. Cruelty, they are not last. We're going to throw it to a break. And the desk, they're going to break it down.
Avol fatal. Plant 3. Ventana.
Inside.
Lo tiene abajo, lo tiene abajo.
Puedes jugar tú.
Te rushea. Bueno. Bueno, güey.
Let's go, yes.
Ay, güey.
One and 10 JJ Black.
Van a Ivana.
Muy bien, Iván,
Bueno, Iván.
1-10 contra la peor región.
Cruelty take the win over Envy to close out their stage. We won't see these guys in the playoffs, but they do escape 10th place. We'll welcome in Cruelty as they close it out with a win, and we've got Fatal here with us to close things out. Fatal, congratulations on the win to close out the stage. Can you tell me a little bit about how you feel this stage overall went as things wrapped up?
Yeah, thank you. We obviously didn't expect like this result, but we were having like close games, and I don't know, it just lack of experience, I think, maybe. And I don't know what more to say. We will like work hard for stage 2 and get a better place in the labor.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's only looking forward for you guys. I think the win against M80 was a really big turning point for your guys' performance. Do you feel like up until you got that first win, you guys were affected by being a little bit nervous, and then after the M80 game, it looked like you guys were playing with a lot more confidence?
Yeah, well, after the M80 win, we just noticed that we can win against good teams, and we started playing with more confidence, like you say.
Well, Fatal, I want to see that smile because you should be happy. You ended the stage on, there it is. You ended the stage with a win that's obviously important, keeps you out of 10th. Sure, 9th isn't huge, but it's obviously the confidence of you guys ending on a win is important. I kind of just want to take it for you. Obviously, playing in LATAM, the MXPL, what's been the biggest experience and takeaway for you and even for the team now competing in the NAL?
The biggest experience?
Yeah. The biggest takeaway?
Well, we learned a lot. We were like the best team in LATAM.
Yes.
And we learned that there is a lot of good teams, and we need to practice a lot more to get the wins against them, because they all play very, very good, and they just better.
Well, hey, like I said, you ended on a win. I would say that is definitely, you can hold your head up high and just focus on that stage 2 and making a different result.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Fatal. We really appreciate it, and we wish you the best in the off-season, preparing for stage 2. We know you guys are going to come back stronger. Thanks so much.
We will. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Fatal. Big win for Cruelty to close out the stage. Hopefully a bit of a confidence booster. Obviously, you know, it wasn't the result they wanted, but you're not going to get better beating every single team in your region for a couple of years. You got to go play against tougher teams in order to improve.
Which is exactly why, like, I have to give it to Cruelty in terms of how impressive, or at least in comparison to Envy, is. They said they were the best in their region, but obviously when they come to the NAL, they are at the bottom, where at least players on Envy have been scrimming against some of the best players in NAL, so realistically, they should be the better team. But for, again, Cruelty to make the advance over into the NAL, to make their stride, to have a big win over M80, to end even today with a win. I mean, there are a lot of things that, again, sure, you can point out they have problems, they have flaws, they acknowledge it, but there are still things that you can look at them and be like, okay, with time, with more experience, having that experience to say, they are only going to improve.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you said it best, Jonah. You can't get better if you're always beating up on all of the other teams, all the lower teams within your region, or on Envy's case, in the T2 scene. Obviously, you need to be able to go through the NAL, lose, and of course, both teams are going to be going through the brink of it right now with being, you know, a little bit down on themselves because of the performance. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to go through that, the difficult times, to be able to come out on the other side and improve. So both teams, I mean, you know, Envy showed some good stuff too. I was really impressed with how Cruelty played. At the end of the day, it's only for stage 2 to come for them.
Well, up next, we've got a little playoff preview. Shopify Rebellion hoping to stay undefeated. We'll see what M80 have to say about that coming up next.